There comes a time in everyone's life where you get tired of playing in the 3D, you get tired of playing with this material world, and you ask yourself, is there more? Is there more to life than what I see in front of me? And this is when you might embark on a long and harrowing journey into yourself, into your spirit, to discover new things, to remember things that you forgot, that your body has forgotten. And as you venture down this path, it is not easy because you will start to see things closer to what they really are. I mean, arguably, you can never see things as they really are in this 3D realm, but you will start to see things. You will start to see beyond the illusion. You will start to see the truth and understand that life shouldn't be taken so seriously and that nothing is as it seems. But I wanted to talk about what arguably a lot of people experience once they've gone deep into this journey. I'm not talking about dipping your feet in the shallow end, I'm talking about you've attained mastery of the self, you now live yoga rather than just practicing it. Yoga is not a physical practice, it is a way of life, it's a way of being. And it's a lifestyle that chooses love over fear no matter what, that chooses courage over fear. And so, even though you might not know how things will unfold for you, you trust in the process and you surrender because you know that it's all going according to plan. And you start to discern between the things that you can control as the ego and the things that are completely out of your control, which is a very blurred line, I think, as you kind of get into this journey. But I wanted to say that inevitably, I think you come to this point, or at least I have come to this point, where I face nihilism. And nihilism is the belief in nothing. It is kind of this dark philosophy of just believing that there is no purpose, there is no meaning, that also, and I think this is an important idea, not necessarily connected to nihilism, but just um, you should never ask why you exist, because that is a question that you will never find the answer to, you know, and you can attempt it. You can try to figure out why, but you'll never figure it out. You'll never figure it out because all that you will ever know within the confines of your mortal mind, all that you will ever know in this lifetime will is this reality, right? This 3D realm is the realm that you are in as the body, as the meat suit. And you can explore the higher dimensions and experience supernatural events. You can become supernatural. You can have more of a say. You can become the master of the 3D realm. However, you can't become the master of the higher realms. Um, and those are the realms of cause. And this realm, the 3D realm, is the cause of effect. Sorry, the realm of effect. But I think you can get to this point where inevitably you do feel as though everything is meaningless. And I've been coming to a radical acceptance of this, and it's been so much on my nervous system. Um, I definitely had a bit of a breakdown about it. Although I'm so aware of this, I think I'm radically accepting it. That although I live a supernatural life now and I am shown things by the spirit world that truly make me feel like I have more involvement in the game of life, although maybe that's an illusion in itself. Um, I still carry this weird feeling of like, what am I doing here? And I don't know if it's like guilt, this like guilt of like existing in general, but I just think it's like the absurdity of this experience that really gets me. And just like as I continue through my journey, which I don't even think like it's funny to call it a journey because it's like your whole life is literally just awakening to who you are. That's your whole life, like, you know, but I just think that there's this there's like wherever there's darkness, there has to be light, you know? So, although I can appreciate this play, this cosmic play, although I can appreciate the things that are happening for me, the beauty of the earth and this material world, there is also the flip side of it of like feeling such a disconnection to it because of the inherent like it's like you can never fully grasp it. You know what I'm saying? Like the Kabbalion talks about several different principles, cosmic laws, and it mentions things like the principle of rhythm. You know, the pendulum is always swinging, the swing to the left is equal to the measure of the swing to the right. The principle of polarity, where there is darkness, there must be light. Everything has its equal pair of opposites. So, although you can feel all these wonderful, positive, amazing things, you know, emotions we deem to be positive, you also have to experience the flip side of it. And although with self mastery, you can ride those waves better, you can kind of go beyond, you can transcend above the illusion, which I'm so tired of this word, um, and kind of just be a neutral observer, and kind of look at it as, this is a play. This is a play and it's fun and it's light and I don't have to take it seriously and everything is changing and everything is working out for me, because I do think it's important to maintain that positive mindset as much as you can. Um, Although I have found that suffering is necessary and there is no escaping suffering. You can transmute your pain, you can transmute your darkness into light, but I don't believe that you can ever escape suffering. And although you can be more of an observer, you can try to not be swayed emotionally or reactive. You don't have to react to life, but there is always going to be this feeling of suffering because although you do have somewhat of a say as to what happens, you don't really have any control at all, you know, like in this realm, in the 3D realm. So it's like the way that I had described it is it's like you're trying to trap smoke or vapor in a box. Or like it's like you're trying to use a net, like a butterfly net to get vapor, you know? You're never going to get it. Like it doesn't make sense. There's holes in the net and the vapor too is like at such a high rate of vibration that like it's smoke, so it's I'm pretty sure that's how it works. If it's a higher rate of vibration, I think it's more there's more movement. But yeah, it just kind of feels like I guess what I'm getting to is that I thought that when I would awaken and see the world for what it is in some capacity, although I'll never really feel as though I'm able to see the world as it is, um, there is just this feeling of like, it feels like I've been on a hamster wheel and I'll have a breakthrough, but then I always find myself back at the bottom of the hamster wheel. And it's just kind of like, was I trying to escape the 3D realm? Because that's impossible, you know? Like it's almost like I want to like awaken myself out of the 3D realm. But that's the whole point. Like that's the whole experience as me, Anna, as the ego. I'm supposed to experience it. And so that's where I just kind of have been feeling lately. And this always happens to me at the end of a rabbit hole. And I'm sure I will go down many a rabbit hole throughout my life. This just seems to be what this meat suit ego likes to do. But yeah, I guess it's just this feeling of like so close to what? Awakening to what? You know? Like, and then just that feeling of like, this is the whole point. So, yeah, I guess I just wanted to put this out there because nihilism is a very dark place to be in. Um, and I think it's really just maybe a result of thinking too much, being in your head, doing more of that thinking than acting, which seems to be a balance that I'm trying to find. Um, but it's heavy and it's really dark, and I'm really grateful that I have a community of close friends who help me like navigate these things. But I did want to say, like, if you feel like you need support, I am here and I see you, I understand. It's not all butterflies and rainbows, and don't fall for the spiritual traps that you might see online. Life is extremely complicated and yet so simple. It's extremely paradoxical. I think that's the way that I would summarize it up to this point. The entire thing is a paradox. Everything. It's like, it's real, but it's not real. Like, and it's just no matter how much you awaken, no matter how conscious or aware you become of what you think is going on, you really realize that you have no idea. And there are things that you will never be privy to seeing or knowing. And I think that's for a reason as well. You know what I'm saying? But I think like if you are someone who is very like logical in the way you live your life, or analytical, and you're like you see patterns and things like that, it's like almost suffocating. You almost feel like you just want to lift the veil. But the thing about the veil of reality is that once you lift the veil, there's just another veil behind it. And it's almost like you think that once you lift the veil enough times, that you break through enough times, that you're going to come to this thing. I don't know what I think, what I would think was there. But it's like you're not, because that's the whole point. Like, you can't outsmart whatever weird quantum technology creates this field around you, like this, like you just can't escape yourself. You can't escape yourself. Um, and there are things that you will never know because you have a mortal mind. Your ego, your meat suit has a mortal mind. So don't try to understand things that are not yours to understand, you know? And I think that's where it's like knowledge is such a double-edged sword. It's so amazing to pick up a book and like read and just have all these downloads, like this stuff come back to you, this insight, this wisdom. Um, but at the same time, like you don't have to fast track that process. And you can just live in the moment and you can just take it day by day and appreciate the experience for what it is. And it doesn't have to mean anything. It doesn't have to mean anything beyond yourself. And maybe if like we're able to go back to that childlike curiosity, that childlike consciousness, where maybe that will ease some of that suffering of, you know, when you think about yourself as a child, you were probably very curious, you were probably very playful, and you didn't take life too seriously. I think, you know, speaking for myself as an adult, it's a lot more difficult for me to appreciate things for what they are and just live in the moment without questioning every little thing, especially having had like an extensive academic background. But as a child, I was just creating. I was just making music videos and I was just being silly and I was very inventive and I was myself and I didn't care what other people thought. I didn't care what this all was or if it's real or if it's not real. And I think that's what I want to go back to slowly but surely. And I'm sending you my best. Um, and yeah, no matter what, just know that nothing is permanent, everything passes. And if you've experienced a very low low, you can be sure that you will experience a high soon enough. It's law. So I love you so much. Leave me a comment down below letting me know what your experience has been with nihilism or if you have your own personal philosophy of choice. And I'm wishing you a wonderful rest of your day or night wherever you are. Okay, bye.